Well, good noon on Saturday, everybody. Ben Dorr here with Minnesota Gun Rights. It has been a wild and woolly couple of days here at our headquarters here in Northfield, Minnesota. For those of you who watched our video last night, you know, and if you're watching our Facebook page at all right now, you know that the Speaker of the House, Kurt Daudt, is going absolutely apoplectic on our Facebook page. He has been all day yesterday and all day today. He is living on our Facebook page, hurling accusations, throwing question after question after question at gun owners, demanding answers, demanding that you tell him. Kurt Daudt is demanding, the Speaker of the House who you elected is demanding that you tell him what Minnesota Gun Rights has done, what bills we've introduced, what we've ever done for gun owners, question after question after question after question after question, trying to get the jump on gun owners, getting all of us on defense, and demanding answers of us. It is the height of insult to gun owners. When you are the Speaker of the House, you answer to the people. You answer gun owners' questions. You don't demand answers from gun owners. That's not how this works. Not how it works at all, folks. Like I said, he's been going absolutely nutso for 2 days on our Facebook page, and even now, comment after comment after comment. Guys, we started a poll last night, and the answer is looking overwhelming. The question on the poll was, should we deport Daudt from our Facebook page? He's spamming the comment section. He's attacking gun owners. He's attacking Minnesota gun rights. He's trying to bury his anti-gun record, his record of killing stand your ground law, his record of killing constitutional carry, his record of attacking law-abiding gun owners time and time and time again, his record of looking to pass gun control all last session, his record of not standing up and fighting for gun owners. He's trying to bury that record. And so every time a gun owner asks him a question, every time a gun owner says, hey, what are you doing for me in St. Paul? He comes back with 10 questions for them. You tell me this, you tell me that, you explain to me, you answer to me. And that right there, folks, is the elitist overlord mentality of legislators in St. Paul. They go there and they don't think, I'm here to represent the people. They go there and go, the people owe me. The people owe me. They're lucky to have me up here. I'm the Speaker of the House. Bow down to me and do exactly as I tell you to do. So we have given him ample opportunity. Answer the questions that gun owners have for you. Answer the questions. He refuses to answer the questions. He refuses to fill out the MGR survey. And that's the other thing. Guys, I just want to give a quick historical recap of Kurt Daudt. Guys, this is the guy who's on there shouting his NRA credentials from the skies, right? I have a perfect record on gun rights. I am one of only 2 100% rated NRA guys in St. Paul. And those, he thinks, are enough to back him up and to hide behind those so-called records. My great friend Pat just logged on. Thank you for coming on today, you guys. Let me know where you're watching from. Greg Kemple, of course, is on. Dakota's watching. Kirsty K. Canner. Thomas Hearing says, when is his term up? He's up for re-election right now. He's scurrying all over his House District 31A, you know, going to every little Pheasants Forever meeting, going to every bar, patting everybody in the back and going, I am the most pro-gun person you ever saw in your whole life. Send me back to St. Paul and I will fight for your gun rights or whatever. It's a joke. It's a laughable joke. One thing you're going to hear from him, if you've been reading the comments section, he goes on there and he goes, I voted for Stand Your Ground and Dayton vetoed it. The last time Stand Your Ground was voted on was 6 years ago. 6 years ago. Speaker Daudt was not the speaker then. And nothing has been done for gun owners since then. 6 years ago. So gun owners, we've been pushing for stand your ground for the last 2 or 3 years hardcore, right? We want stand your ground. You want stand your ground. And so everybody's asking him, Kurt, where's the stand your ground bill? Why don't we have stand your ground? Where's the stand your ground bill? And he goes, we voted on it and Dayton vetoed it. So he wants you to go, oh, well, they already voted on Dayton vetoed it. Then Kurt did his job. It was voted on 6 years ago when Kurt was not even Speaker of the House. He had nothing to do with that bill's passage. And so for 6 long years, they have been giving the anti-gun Democrats, the radical leftists like Ron Lance, and of course, our marble-mouthed governor have been getting free reign of the gun rights topic for years here in Minnesota. But he wants you to believe that they voted on stand your ground just yesterday and Dayton vetoed it. So what's everybody mad at him for? So he's lying to gun owners. He's purposely manipulating gun owners into thinking that he somehow has done something for gun rights when he has absolutely refused to do so. And again, he marches around saying, I have the best NRA rating anywhere in the state and blah, 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 blah. Guys, we know that doesn't count for squat. We know that the NRA endorsement process is designed to protect incumbents. The NRA and the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus gave all kinds of endorsements and A ratings to anti-gun DFL senators in 2016. Rod Skoy, Lyle Coonan, and many others got the endorsement from the NRA. They endorsed Harry Reid. U.S. Senator Harry Reid got the endorsement from the NRA years ago. So for him to sit here and say, I have a perfect record and an NRA rating, like we're supposed to just bend over and kiss his backside, it's absolutely insulting to gun owners. As he sits there and lies and works to twist gun owners. And so here we have it. We have a constant attack on gun owners on this Facebook page. So every time he's asked a question, he does what some would call the Washington dippity-do, or the two-step, or spinning. He asks them questions back. He doesn't answer. He doesn't answer questions. He just lobs question after question after question after question after question. If I had to respond and answer, which he does not deserve answers to any of his questions, it would take me an hour to type up a response to the questions he throws at us and at gun owners. But of course, that's all a part of his strategy to make us all sit here and go, oh yeah, think about something else other than the fact that Kurt Daudt continues to stab gun owners in the back. It's an absolute insult to the Second Amendment. It's an insult to gun owners. And what's more, what Kurt Daudt is particularly trying to distract from right now today is the fact that 1 month from today, on August 14, is the Republican primary here in Minnesota. The primary is on August 14, and so Minnesota Gun Rights is doing our level best to get signed, filled out surveys from every candidate who's running for office, so you can see where your candidates stand on gun rights issues. That's what we're supposed to do as a gun rights organization. We expose anti-gunners in their districts, and we make sure gun owners know where candidates stand, right? That's what we're supposed to do. Kurt Daudt, and we drew attention to this just a couple of days ago. That Kurt Daudt sent out an email to everybody running for office and said, do not fill out the Minnesota Gun Rights candidate questionnaire. Don't fill it out. He doesn't want you to know where your candidates stand on gun rights issues. More than that, he does not want Minnesota Gun Rights to be able to use those surveys, those responses to hold accountable politicians who would turn on gun owners and go back on their pledges from election time. So right now, Kurt Daudt is doing his level best to make sure gun owners are duped in the upcoming primary. He wants gun owners to shut up, fall in line, do exactly as you're told, and vote for the guy that Kurt Daudt wants you to vote for, because in that way, Speaker Daudt maintains his death grip of control on the Minnesota House. This is exactly what's happening right now. We did a live stream video on this a couple of days ago, urging you guys to call your candidates, contact your candidates, give them a survey, and tell them to fill out the MGR survey. We exposed this attack on gun owners, and now Kurt Daudt is coming unglued, apoplectic on our Facebook page, trying to do whatever he can do to distract gun owners from the real heart of the matter, and that is his attacks on the Second Amendment. Greg Kemple says, why would he do that? Well, the answer is simple. Kurt Daudt has spent the last several years killing off all of the pro-gun bills, forcing all of his colleagues, all of his little underlings in St. Paul to do nothing on behalf of the Second Amendment. Nobody will stand up for gun rights in St. Paul. Nobody will fight for stand your ground or constitutional carry law. And so, if we had surveys from all of them, we could hold them accountable. We could go into their districts and say, look, Representative so-and-so filled out his survey saying he would sponsor stand your ground law. But here we have it in St. Paul. They won't sponsor the bills. And so if they don't fill out their candidate survey, how are we supposed to hold them accountable for their actions, for their lack of action? This is what Kurt Daudt is doing right now in St. Paul. He's been trying to pull the wool over gun owners' eyes. He worked double time last session to kill stand your ground law, to kill constitutional carry, refused to allow any hearings on anything in St. Paul except for gun control bills, right? We had hearings on universal gun registration. We had hearings on red flags orders. We had hearings on all kinds of gun control under his fantastic leadership in St. Paul. And now here, when gun owners have the opportunity to hold their elected officials accountable, he wants you to be totally in the dark. He wants you to be totally in the dark on where your candidates stand on the Second Amendment. So here we have it, you guys. Now he's on our Facebook page, lobbing question after question after question after question, demanding answers of gun owners, demanding answers. And it's the height of insult to Second Amendment proponents, to you guys. He should be answering your questions, giving you real leadership. I don't know how many times I've seen the question, Speaker Daudt, next session, will you move stand your ground law? No answer. Speaker Daudt, if we have a pro-gun governor next session, after the November elections, will you move stand your ground law? No answer. In fact, he posted a fraud alert on his Facebook page last night and has spent this entire time deleting comments and banning gun owners from his own Facebook page. Look, you're an elected official. You're the Speaker of the House. You represent the people, and it's your responsibility to answer the questions of your constituents and the people who you purport to lead. Instead, Speaker Daudt is banning and deleting gun owners off of his Facebook page because he will not go on record in defense of the Second Amendment. He will not tell gun owners, next session, we're going to move a stand your ground bill. He would never do that. He would never do that, because if he did and he didn't move the bill, gun owners could hold him accountable. This way, he always has the opportunity to do nothing, promise nothing, and deliver nothing for gun owners. Is what he's done his entire term as Speaker of the House. Years ago, they passed some peripheral bills. Capital carry got passed 3 years ago. We got capital carry here in Minnesota, and that, we're supposed to settle for that. You're supposed to thank him. You're supposed to fall down on your knees and go, thank you, Speaker Daudt, for allowing me to carry at the Capitol. Meanwhile, we have no stand your ground law. If you use a firearm in self-defense, if you did not retreat far enough, at this moment, if you get attacked, we don't have a stand your ground law. You can go to jail. You can be criminally prosecuted. They can get past some of the civil immunities and prosecute you that way. You can go to prison for defending yourself right now in the state of Minnesota. But Kurt Daudt will sit there and say, we voted on stand your ground 6 years ago. So he delivers capital carry for us nearly 4 years ago. And you guys, you better get on your knees and start thanking him for his staunch leadership Staunch leadership on behalf of the Second Amendment. That is what he's been acting like for the last 2 days on Facebook, demanding that you tell him what we've done. Look at him. Look at him right here in the comment section. What has this group done to advance our Second Amendment rights of the Capitol? Please prove me wrong. This should be the easiest thing you've ever done. Blah, 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 blah. Question after question after question. Speaker Daudt, here's a question for you, since he's right here in the comments, folks. He's right here in the comments. Speaker Daudt, next session, 2019 session, assuming you still have a majority, assuming you are still in office, will you push stand your ground law through your House chamber? Will you do your due diligence for gun owners and put the bill on the House floor for a vote in 2019? That's the question. Answer the question for gun owners. Will you put it, regardless of a Democrat or Republican governor, it doesn't matter. Gun owners deserve the vote of their pro-gun leadership. Will you put it on the House floor for a vote next session? Tell us. We want to hear the answer to that question. Guys, watch the comment section. Watch the spinning. Watch the questions. What have you done for gun owners? What have you done at St. Paul? Which representatives have you met with? Here it all comes, you guys. We'll give them a second. Kurt, it shouldn't take very long to type YES. How long does it take to type YES? Nothing so far. So that's the question, guys. Finally, right here. No. He says, I answered. Read it. Kurt, next session, 2019, will you put stand your ground law on the House floor for a vote? We want it on the House floor. Say it. Say it right now. Read my answer, liar. Come on. It's a simple yes or no question. Will you put it on the House floor for a vote? Do what you've promised gun owners and vote for this and put this on the House floor for a vote. Answer the question. Yes or no? Yes or no? All right, here. We're still waiting, you guys. As we wait, I'll just continue to mention the fact that the Stand Your Ground bill that he says they voted for, that he passed, the last time they voted for Stand Your Ground was 6 years ago. 6 years ago, the House voted on Stand Your Ground law, not under Speaker Daudt's leadership, under men greater than him, under representatives greater than Speaker Daudt. They voted on Stand Your Ground law. And now he's walking around going, we voted on Stand Your Ground. Minnesota gun rights is a liar. Minnesota gun rights is a liar. No, 6 years ago, that's what you call an adequate defense and representation of gun owners? In a time when anti-gun leftists are pouring pressure on gun owners, are pouring pressure in Minnesota to kill our Second Amendment rights. You're going to sit here, Speaker Daudt, and tell us that because you voted on Stand Your Ground law 6 years ago, that is an adequate defense of the Second Amendment. Oh, did I see it? Oh, hey! Oh, hold on, am I reading this correctly? All right. Now tell me if I'm wrong. But Speaker Daudt says that he will absolutely put Stand Your Ground law on the House floor for a vote in 2019. Hey, tell me if I got that wrong, Kurt. Give me another yes. I'd appreciate that. I'm pretty sure he just said he'd put it on the House floor for a vote. Wow, look at that. Leadership from the Speaker. Leadership from the Speaker, you guys. After days of castigating gun owners, of attacking Second Amendment supporters, of lying on Facebook, of doing classic, professional, political doublespeak on Facebook, now poor Speaker Daudt has got himself in a pickle, hopped on the Facebook Live video here, and in front of hundreds of gun owners has now been forced to say yes. Kurt Daudt says, I've always supported. Why do you think I haven't? You've been lying to people about this for years. Kurt, come on. Don't act so naive. You don't get to be Speaker of the House by acting that dumb, okay? Of course you support it. In your brain, maybe, possibly. There are dozens and dozens of legislators in St. Paul who support Stand Your Ground law. But if you don't put Stand Your Ground law up for a vote, if you never actually stand up and move bills as the speaker, what good does your mental support of a bill do gun owners? If you never allow a vote on Stand Your Ground, tell me what good it does the Second Amendment and our God-given, constitutionally guaranteed rights to self-defense. You tell me what good it does for the state of Minnesota and these gun owners who are watching right now to support Stand Your Ground law and abjectly refuse to put it on the House floor for a vote. Look at him. What members have you met with? What bills have you testified on? Question. Kurt, listen. I know it's hard for you, but you're not a member of Minnesota Gun Rights. Just a little bit ago, he posted on Facebook, and he says on our comment section, he goes, oh yeah, and I'm a proud gun owner and carry permit holder. So when you're talking about gun owners, you're talking about me, he says in all caps. Look, Minnesota Gun Rights exists for our members and supporters. We do not represent every single gun owner in the state. We do not represent you, Speaker Daudt. We represent our members and supporters, the folks who back us up when we call attention to your political backsliding, to your attacks on the Second Amendment. And so you sit here and demand answers of gun owners, demand answers of us. You have absolutely no right to do so, Kurt. You're the speaker. You give answers to us. You know what I think is incredible? I think it's incredible. Guys, let him know what you think right now. He's watching right now. Let him know what you think in the comments section. Tell him what's on your mind. Because you know what? You couldn't do that all session long, right? This entire calendar year, you couldn't get in touch with Kurt Daudt. If you wanted to ask him where he stands on gun rights issues, while Linda Slocum is working with all the anti-gun groups to ram through House File 22, when Michael Bloomberg is pouring hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars into Minnesota to crush our gun rights, where was Kurt Daudt? Where was Kurt Daudt? You ever hear anything from him? The guy only comes out of his cave long enough to attack gun owners, wave his NRA A-rated flag, and crawl back down into his hole. That's what Kurt Daudt does. And so here we have it, out of session. It's election time. He doesn't want you to know where gun owners or where candidates stand on gun rights issues. And so here he is running his mouth as fast as he possibly can here in the comment section, demanding that you answer to him. In fact, the only time he ever said anything about gun rights last session was when he got his hand caught in the cookie jar. When he was having caucus meetings, when he was having conversations about passing gun control to appease the left, when he was talking about buckling and allowing for universal background checks and red flags orders to pass, when he was having those conversations and the news started reporting on it and gun owners started coming down on him, then finally he came out of his closet, to make sure everybody knew that he had a perfect record on the Second Amendment. That's the only time Speaker Daudt opened his mouth on behalf of gun owners, and it wasn't on behalf of gun owners, it was on behalf of his own self. Because if there's one thing Kurt Daudt cares about more than himself, it's, well, nothing. That's what Kurt Daudt cares about most, is himself, his own reputation, his own political grandstanding, his own personal ambition. That's what Speaker Daudt cares about most, is his own personal political ambitions. And so here he is, running his mouth in the comment section, demanding answers, not fighting for gun owners, not pushing for stand your ground law, not pushing for constitutional carry law. Dakota Bishop says, Linda Slocum, who introduced House File 3022, the worst gun control bill we ever saw, he says, Linda Slocum is more honest than Daudt. At least she admits her agenda. You got that right. Absolutely. We would much rather have a Linda Slocum attacking gun rights so we can push back, we can slap her for doing that, than have a fake pro-gun Speaker of the House pretending to give voice to gun owners, pretending to be a defense of gun owners, pretending to support stand your ground law. Of course he supports stand your ground. 6 years ago was the last time stand your ground was voted on. 6 years ago, when Speaker Daudt was not even speaker, that was the last time they moved stand your ground law. Refuses to do it now, refused to do it last session, refused to do it the session before, and now he is simply attacking gun owners. Kurt, where did you go? People are asking you questions. Kevlar says, Kurt never responds to emails. Yeah, well, when you're not doing anything for gun owners, it's always best to just keep a low key. Don't put your face out there. Don't say much. This is what Kurt Daudt does. He's really good at it. He's made a political profession out of this. And now that he realizes he can't throw a temper tantrum and get his way, it seems that he's dropped off our feed. I don't know. We'll see here. Kurt, you still with us? Kurt? Guys, when we're done here, if this isn't enough entertainment for you, and if this doesn't open your eyes enough as to the anti-gun piece of crap that Kurt Daudt is, Rhino. If this doesn't open your eyes enough, go over on the other post just down below and read the comment section. Read the questions people ask him. Watch how he refuses to answer. Watch how he throws question after question after question at gun owners, demanding answers, and you'll see exactly what kind of guy Speaker Daudt is. All right, Kurt, we expect to see stand your ground and constitutional carry on the House floor for a vote in 2018. No excuses, because these are the excuses they put out there. If we say we want to vote on stand your ground law, they say, well, we can't do that because the Senate says they're not going to take the bill up. That's the dumbest thing we ever heard in our lives. Anybody who knows the first thing about politics knows that if stand your ground law left the House chamber, if Speaker Daudt did his job and passed it out of the House, you and I, and the tens of thousands of members and supporters from Minnesota gun rights, we could turn our attention on the Senate and start pouring the pressure on the Senate to pass stand your ground law, right? That's what we could do. That's what we could do. And then if the Senate passes it, well, then we could put pressure on the governor. Maybe the governor will pass it. Maybe he won't. If Dayton vetoed stand your ground law, which he would likely do, well, then we could have made stand your ground one of the biggest gubernatorial issues this session. Gun owners would rise up in opposition to Governor Dayton's attacks on the Second Amendment, and we could get a pro-gun governor out of it. If only Speaker Daudt would follow through, if only Speaker Daudt would pass stand your ground law, it would benefit his caucus, it would benefit gun owners, it would benefit freedom in the state of Minnesota. Even if the bill got killed, even if the bill died, it would be a huge step forward for gun owners, showing leadership. Because here's the other thing. Oh, here's another lies. Kurt, come on. You're talking to real people here. You're not talking to cozy questions from the media. These guys are literally absent from the Capitol. Kurt Daudt, I have literally been at the Capitol dozens and dozens of times last session, and our members and supporters know it. You are such a liar. Plus, you were screaming at us at the Capitol just a few months ago. Or don't you remember who you were yelling at? Come on, Kurt. Pull it together, and try to tell the truth, even for 5 minutes. Please, you're talking to average Joes here. You're talking to the law-abiding best citizens of Minnesota, and you owe them your respect. You owe them your respect. You only have your speakership because of gun owners. Gun owners are Minnesota's best citizens. They're the best citizens in this state, and you owe them the respect due their position. You are a representative of the people. You are not our king. We threw those people out hundreds of years ago. You are not our overlord. You are a representative of the people, and you will show our members and supporters the respect due them. Outrageous. Outrageous. Look at him, just going nuts here in the comments section. And the Speaker of the House, you're supposed to be the strongest defender of gun rights. You are the Speaker. A Republican Speaker of the House is what you are. And you won't do anything for gun owners. Why aren't you on Moms Demand Action's Facebook page right now, defending gun owners? Why aren't you on Protect Minnesota? Why aren't you going after the anti-gun leftists instead of being on a gun rights Facebook page, the largest Second Amendment page in Minnesota, attacking gun owners? Attacking gun owners? Unbelievable. Who did you meet with? Name a single member. Kurt, I talked to so many members of the Minnesota House last session, I can't even remember them all. Demanding answers. Blah, blah, blah. Show the video, blah, 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 blah. Listen to you, man. Guys, I hope this is a big revealing moment if you didn't already know. Miguel says, too bad Justine Damon couldn't stand her ground. Yeah, law-abiding citizens, we don't get to stand our ground. We get thrown in prison. We get arrested. We get criminally prosecuted. We can get sued because our self-defense laws in Minnesota are garbage. And Speaker Daudt absolutely refuses to stand up in support of the Second Amendment and move a stand your ground bill. Won't do it. Unbelievable. Listen to him. Stacy Waldrop says, MGR, stop fighting amongst ourselves and start attacking people on the left. Hey, I'm not fighting with gun owners. The Republican Speaker of the House is the one who is on here attacking Second Amendment supporters like a madman and has been for a couple of days. Incredible. Incredible. Won't support the Second Amendment, won't move pro-gun bills, will not do anything on behalf of gun owners. And if you get on his Facebook page, do it. Hop on Kurt Daudt's personal Facebook page, go to the post where he calls us frauds and ask him questions. Whatever you have. He's the speaker. He's required to answer questions to his constituents. Go on there and ask him questions and watch all of your questions get deleted. Watch your questions get deleted and watch him do nothing for gun owners. And then he just keeps creating this little echo chamber, demanding answers of gun owners. You tell me, blah, 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 blah. No, Speaker Daudt, you tell us. You tell gun owners what you're willing to do. Kurt Daudt says, you've been trashing me for a year or more. I'm just holding you accountable. Kurt, of everything you've posted on Facebook so far in the last 2 days, that is the most hysterical and hypocritical comment I've ever read from you in all my life. Guys, the Speaker of the House is on here holding us accountable. He is holding us accountable. The Speaker of the House is holding his constituents accountable. He's holding gun owners accountable. Kurt, I think it's really best if you just step down. Step down, man. You should resign your office. We need a different speaker here in Minnesota. If that is how you view gun owners, that you need to hold us accountable, you need to hold us accountable? You're the Speaker of the Minnesota House. You are accountable to gun owners. How dare you? How dare you? Well, folks, now we know exactly why he's telling all of these candidates don't fill out the Minnesota Gun Rights Candidate Questionnaire. Because he thinks that you are to be accountable to your state representatives. You are to be accountable to them. They are not required to be accountable to you. Clearly. Unbelievable. Miguel says, Mr. Daudt, just remember who signs your paychecks. Yeah, no kidding, buddy. No kidding. You hop on here and scream about money and scream about scams and con artists. You sit up in St. Paul giving no representation to gun owners, and you carry home a nice little paycheck every single year, courtesy of the taxpayers of Minnesota. And you have the gall to come on here and say that you are holding us accountable. You are holding us accountable. As unbelievable, folks. Absolutely unbelievable. Joe says, you're a politician. You don't love facts. You love power and status. You know, Joe, truer words never spoken. Nothing sums up Speaker Daudt more than his love of power, his death grip of control on the Minnesota House, and his status. Because remember, guys, it was long chatted about that Kurt Daudt was going to run for governor, right? Months ago, that was all over the news. Is Kurt Daudt going to run for governor? Well, you know how you run for governor. For people like Kurt Daudt, it's not being too much to the right. See, you don't want to be too much of a proud gun owner. You want to be able to appease the anti-gun left and the pro-gun right. And so it's obvious why he continues to be such a worthless softy on gun rights. Kurt Daudt says, why does the NRA and the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus disagree with you? Kurt, the entire state knows that the NRA gave the endorsements to people like Rod Skoy and Lyle Coonan when they voted to kill constitutional carry law. The NRA's endorsement doesn't mean anything to gun owners because they don't hold you accountable for your actions. The Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus has been running interference for you. You know it. You're good friends with them. Your good friend and part of your leadership team, Jim Nash, is in business with them. They run the business that all of the Minnesota Gun Owners PAC money goes into. And then that PAC pays money to the business that your good friend Jim Nash is on. You guys are on the dole from the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus. Don't sit here and act like that, like those endorsements are worth anything. Come on, Kurt. Enough lies. Enough lies. Just be straightforward with people. Be like Donald Trump. Say it like it is. Speak up for the Second Amendment. Speak up for gun owners. Be bold. I know you hate Donald Trump. You were trashing him before. You don't like Donald because people like our president make you look really bad. They make you look really bad because your so-called leadership that we're supposed to fall all over ourselves thanking you for looks pretty darn pale in comparison to real leaders of the Second Amendment who move and fight for the Second Amendment. In Iowa, Second Amendment stalwarts like Senator Rick Bertrand fought tooth and nail against their own anti-gun party leadership, getting Iowa stand your ground law. Rock on. That is leadership. Out in Wyoming, our good friend Senator Anthony Bouchard did the same thing, fought like a mad dog to get stand your ground law, and they got it out in Wyoming. In Missouri, they have constitutional carry and stand your ground law because the Second Amendment champion, Representative Eric Burleson, stood up against his own caucus and moved the bill, fought for the bill, and gun owners got the self-defense protections they deserve. That, Kurt, is leadership. That is leadership on behalf of gun owners. That's leadership. Here in Minnesota, you do nothing. You vote for a pro-gun bill 6 years ago, and then you put that little feather in your cap, and you march around going, I'm the greatest pro-gun state representative that ever lived in Minnesota. It's a joke. It's not leadership. The men in those other states fought for these pro-gun bills and got America, got those states the self-defense protections they deserve. In Minnesota, all you do is attack gun owners. Shameful. Absolutely shameful. Unbelievable. And now when gun owners have the opportunity to go to the polls and elect pro-gun champions who are actually going to fight for the Second Amendment, what do? What do? You start running your House money into districts challenging stalwart pro-gun champions of the Second Amendment. You do whatever you can to thwart Republican grassroots folks who want pro-gun champions in St. Paul. You'll do whatever you can do to make sure you always have your limp-wristed, button-pushing stooges in St. Paul to do as you're told. Shameful, shameful, shameful. And now you're telling everybody, don't fill out the Minnesota Gun Rights Candidate Questionnaire. Don't fill out the survey. Don't go on record. Don't tell gun owners where you stand. That's what you're doing. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Guys, I don't know what else to say here. I mean, look at him. He's just going nuts. Nope, never attacked the gun owner. I am one. Look. Come on. Really? Is that the best you got? You're a gun owner, therefore you're one of us? You are an elitist rhino who won't fight for gun owners. Your record shows it. Your record shows it. You won't even get us committee hearings. You won't put the House, you won't put constitutional carry through any of the committees. You won't put stand your ground on the House floor. You won't do it. You refuse to do it. And so gun owners sit here and bang our heads against the wall going, somebody tell me what good it is to have our so-called pro-gun majorities in St. Paul if they won't lift a finger for gun owners. And let me tell you guys, you know this, I know it, pretty much everybody knows it. What do you mean you passed it? What do you mean you passed? You didn't pass stand your ground law. There hasn't been a stand your ground law in 6 years. 6 years. Don't sit here and don't act like that's representation. Oh, guys, I guess, in case you all didn't know, career politicians, pro-gun career politicians, are only required to vote on one piece of pro-gun legislation ever. Ever. I mean, if you're still in office 15 years from now, Kurt, which I seriously doubt, if you're still in office 10 or 15 years from now, you're going to sit there and go, ha, 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 I voted for stand your ground law back in 2012. Come on. Come on. That is so disingenuous. That is so disingenuous. And so, guys, last session, because Kurt Daudt refuses to stand up for gun owners, because he absolutely refuses to put any pro-gun bills on the House floor, because he refuses to show any leadership on behalf of gun owners, he emboldened the anti-gun left. He has emboldened radical anti-gunners in the state legislature to attack our gun rights. And that is why we spent the entirety of last session on defense, fighting against Ron Lass and Linda Slocum and Dave Pinto. And then all the Republicans hopped on board. Scott Jensen, Paul Anderson, Keith Franke, Sandy Lehman, all of these people, pro-gun Republicans, sponsoring radical gun control because Kurt Daudt does not have the wherewithal to, first of all, keep his caucus in check, as the speaker. That's kind of your job. And second of all, to force the anti-gun left on defense, right? If Kurt Daudt had put stand your ground law on the House floor, instead of the anti-gun left having hearings on gun control, they would be desperately trying to stop stand your ground law. And that's where we want them to be, isn't it? We want them to be on defense. We should be on offense. When we have pro-gun majorities in St. Paul, we should be on offense and they should be on defense. But under Kurt Daudt's leadership, no, we were on defense the entire time. And anti-gun radicals were on offense trying to ram through radical gun control. Radical gun control. That's what we got. So you guys were forced to make tens of thousands of phone calls, send emails, sign petitions, Facebook messages, meetings with your legislators. We had a rally at the state capitol to stop gun control simply because Speaker Daudt refused to come out of the closet and tell the media, you know what? You can take your gun control, ram it down your throat. I'm going to do what I promised gun owners, and I'm putting stand your ground on the House floor. That would have been leadership on behalf of gun owners. But we got none of that. None of that. So we had to fight. You and I had to fight to stop gun control while Speaker Daudt did not a dadgum thing. Nothing for gun owners. But if you ask him, oh, I'm a hero. Oh, I've done all kinds of things. I voted for stand your ground law. Yeah, and you got a speakership out of it 6 years ago. Yeah, do something for gun owners now. Do something now. Stop bullying pro-gun lawmakers who want to introduce pro-gun bills. We hear this all the time. We hear this from people in St. Paul, guys. We talk to representatives and they say, hey, look, I'm on your side, but hey, it's just not happening right now. You know, they're too scared to even introduce or push a bill or force a vote because of the wrath of Kurt Daudt that will come down on their heads in St. Paul. And what's more, when he was ramming through dangerous ID, you guys know, the Real ID bill that would force all of us to give massive amounts of our private data and have a special license from the state in order to do anything. The Real ID bill that states like Missouri had told the federal government to go kiss off. Missouri told them to go pound sand. Here in Minnesota, when 2017, that was the #1 agenda item for Kurt Daudt, was passing Real ID. And so when the bill got into the committee process, Kurt Daudt was telling state representatives, get up and walk out, or I'm going to yank your committee seat. And weak-kneed legislators were standing up. This is a true story. Bill comes in for a vote. It's time to vote on Real ID. These guys can't vote on it. People like Eric Lucero can't vote on it because they're Captain Conservative. And so Kurt Daudt says, you walk out of that room, let the bill pass. If you don't, I'm going to come after you. And so they get up, they walk right out of the committee room. The vote happens, Real ID passes, the representatives walk back in and they sit down, and look, they neither voted yay nor nay. That is the control that Speaker Daudt has over the caucus. Those are the threats he puts on pro-gun representatives if they even breathe about moving pro-gun bills or standing up for stand your ground or constitutional carry. So he whips all of these people into shape to do as they're told. And they do it because many of them are just spineless. Unbelievable. How's that for a Speaker of the House? How's that for representation from our Speaker? It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. So bills like Real ID, those get rammed right through the House, right through the Senate, right to the governor. That is a priority. That's priority right there. But stand your ground law, No vote. No vote. That bill doesn't go on the floor. In 2017 rather, you guys beat on the legislature so hard that they were forced to pass Stand Your Ground out of the House Rules Committee. Finally. And I was there in the committee when House Majority Leader Joyce Pepin was gritting her teeth. You could hear her teeth grinding together as she was forced to pass it out of one little committee. Out of one little committee. This is how much these people do not want to stand up for gun rights, because you know what? They don't think it'll help their political agenda. They don't think it'll help. And so it's really easy to just say, I've got an NRA A rating, and that makes me pro-gun. And you know what? I voted on a pro-gun bill more than half a decade ago, and so you should all thank me for being speaker. Devin Pierce says, reply to my statement, Kurt. Kurt, please answer Devin's question. Devin, feel free to ask the question here in the comment section again. Kurt, please answer the questions that people are asking you. You're the speaker. Yep, perfect record on guns. I mean, are you on like autopilot or something? Get out of the sauce, man. Your perfect records on guns hasn't done jack squat for gun owners. Put Stand Your Ground law on the House floor. You have a perfect record because you never put gun bills, you never put pro-gun bills on the House floor for a vote. And so you're never forced to vote yes or no. And so in that way, guys, the speaker can maintain his record. The speaker can maintain his record because he can decide when a bill goes onto the House floor or not. So if he never lets Stand Your Ground on the House floor, well, then he'll always have a perfect record. If Kurt Daudt never puts a pro-gun bill on the House floor and is never forced to vote his true colors, he'll never have a bad record on gun rights. See? And we should thank him, right? We should send him money. We should send money. Help him out. We all get fundraising letters from Kurt Daudt all the time. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The Speaker of the House on Minnesota Gun Rights Facebook Live video refusing to answer questions. Donald Hardinger says, we want you to grow some balls, Kurt. You know, Donald, yeah, I mean, that pretty much sums it up. It'd be really cool if we could get some pro-gun bills passed. Adam Busby says, so why not Stand Your Ground? Kurt, I don't know, you must be, I don't know if you're in your closet or what you're doing right now, but you obviously have expendable time on your hands. Please do us a favor and answer Adam Busby's question. He says, so why not Stand Your Ground? To tell him why you didn't put Stand Your Ground law on the House floor last session or the session before. Please, please. We'd like to know. I mean, because you caucus this stuff. You know, you talk with your leadership team and you decide what issues you're going to concentrate on this session. So please tell us why Stand Your Ground law didn't make it onto the House floor in 2018 or 2017 for that matter. Oh, or 2016. Yeah, why didn't Stand Your Ground make it onto the House floor in 2016? I mean, these are really simple questions. Now we know that the Senate was in the DFL's control in 2016, and so you know what you could have done? You could have passed Stand Your Ground out of the House, and we'd have said, "Thank you, Speaker Daudt. Thank you for your leadership on behalf of gun owners." And then we could have bludgeoned the ever-living political heck out of the anti-gun Senate majority, and probably got it passed out of there. Why should we have to put pressure on Republicans? When if you would just do your job, we could put pressure on the anti-gun left. Unbelievable. Oh, so Adam Busby says, so why not Stand Your Ground? Kurt says, it was vetoed. I answered this. 6 years ago, come on, Kurt, wake up, Kurt, wake up. 6 years ago, not under your leadership, you were not speaker. Greater men passed Stand Your Ground 6 years ago. 6 years ago, Stand Your Ground moved out of the House and was vetoed. So what happened in the last 6 years? You do know that you can introduce the same type of bill again, right? Like, it's not like Stand Your Ground was introduced in the Minnesota legislature, it got vetoed, and so now we can't do this anymore. You do know you can introduce it year after year, right? I don't know. I'm pretty sure, go look up the House rules, but I'm pretty certain that you can introduce a Stand Your Ground bill more than once in the history of a state. So please do that. We'd love to see Stand Your Ground law on the House and Senate floor, at least on the House floor. If you want to do us a solid and go talk with Gazelka, if you want to go talk to Senate Majority Leader Gazelka and say, hey, Paul, mano a mano, we're good friends here. My House chamber, we're going to get Stand Your Ground passed out of there because we have like a really, really big Republican majority over there. So we're going to pass Stand Your Ground law out of the House, and it would be really, really cool if you guys could pass it out of the Senate. I think that we should make this a priority this year. It's very important to gun owners. They should have these self-defense protections. And hey, I tell everybody I'm pro-gun all the time anyway, and you do too. So let's get Stand Your Ground law passed and put it on the governor's desk. How about that? And then we're going to do gun owners another solid, and we are going to go out and talk to the media and say the House majority and the Senate majority calls on Governor Dayton to pass Stand Your Ground law into law. Do what you should do and pass it into law. That would be great. We would love to see that. That is leadership. That's leadership. And you know what, Kurt? In all seriousness, if you were to actually do that, if you were to actually stand up and represent gun owners, if you were to actually put Stand Your Ground law on the House floor, that wasn't a watered down piece of crap, if you were actually willing to fight for gun owners, I can tell you right now, Minnesota gun rights, our members, our supporters, our people would go to war against anybody who would stand in your way. Any anti-gun leftist, Ron Latz, Dave Pinto, the most radical of the leftists in your chamber and in the Senate, Minnesota gun rights would leave no stone unturned, helping you help us by moving Stand Your Ground law. We would go to war against anybody who would oppose Kurt Daudt and his mission to pass Stand Your Ground law for gun owners. But buddy, you have to actually do it. You have to do it. You have to put the bill on the House floor. But clearly, guys, clearly Speaker Daudt, that's not part of his agenda. That's not what he wants to do for gun owners. He wants your votes. He wants your votes. He wants your money. He wants you to go walking in parades with him. He wants you to back up his friends. He wants you to not look at Minnesota gun rights candidate survey answers. He wants nobody to answer the Minnesota gun rights candidate survey. No, because he wants to maintain his death grip of control. He wants to placate the anti-gun left. He wants to go on more fishing trips with Governor Marblemouth. Incredible. Incredible. We're in the middle of one of the largest expansions of state government, right? You guys remember this. A budget, nearly 10% of the state budget got jacked up, over $4 billion in new taxes and state debt on gun owners' shoulders. And there's this deliberation. There's a fight between Governor Dayton and Kurt Daudt, and we're all supposed to go, yeah, Kurt Daudt, rock on, fight, fight, fight. No, he's on a boat. He's on a boat fishing with Governor Dayton. With Governor Dayton, he's on a boat fishing with Governor Dayton while they concoct a deal to jack our taxes absolutely through the roof, pass no pro-gun bills. He's sitting there popping a cork, which I'm pretty sure he's popping a cork of that Minnesota moonshine right now. And that's what he decides. He sits here and acts like a warlord for gun owners, and it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Kurt, Dakota Bishop says, Kurt, Answer the survey. Hey, why not? Why not? We think that's great. Chad Mizzle says, I will fight for Kurt only if he fights for me. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Yeah, but he won't fight for you. He's proven that in his time in office. He has certainly proven that as Speaker of the House. Big talking, but no delivery. You know, President Trump's motto has switched from "Make America Great Again." Oh, he still does that, of course. And he is doing that. And now he says, promises made, promises kept. Ain't that the truth? The guy is going to war. He's beating on these other nations who are taking advantage of our country. He is fighting for America like a madman. But here in Minnesota, our Speaker of the House, who is right here in the comments section, absolutely refuses to follow his lead. Kurt, I know you hate Donald Trump. You've been very vocal about that. The news stories, you just Google it. I know you hate Donald Trump, but just please take a little look at his playbook and do as he does a little bit and fight for the Second Amendment. Fight for gun owners. Unbelievable. He says, every legislator knows these guys are a fraud. It's all designed to make money. Kurt, do you hear yourself, man? Do you hear yourself? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Kurt, do me a favor. Swing on down to our office in Northfield, 1064 Highway 3 South in Northfield. Let's talk this out. We'll go on Facebook Live. We should do this. We should do this. Kurt, come on down to our office. We'll go on Facebook Live here, and we'll talk with gun owners, and we'll do a little Q&A. We'll make a little interview session, and you can tell gun owners what you plan to do in detail in the future on behalf of gun owners. You know, stand your ground on the House floor for a vote, things like that. And hey, yeah, you can ask a couple of questions if you want. And but of course, as a representative, you're required to answer more questions than gun owners are. I know he hopped on here a few minutes ago and told us that he was on here to make sure that we were held accountable. Guys, the Speaker of the House, Kurt Daudt, is on here in the comments section holding gun owners accountable. Let that sink in for 8 whole seconds and realize the absurdity of that. Kurt, honestly, it's really best if you just step down. I think we call on Kurt Daudt to resign his office, resign as Speaker at least, and let somebody who's actually willing to fight for gun owners fill those shoes. Clearly, you have small feet and probably small hands, but somebody else should be filling those shoes who is willing to fight for gun owners. So step down. If you care about gun rights, do the Second Amendment a huge favor and just resign. Bobby Calhoun says, as far as I can see, there isn't any politician ready to put up the fight needed to protect our God-given rights. Yeah, Bobby, that's half the problem here. Is a lot of the people in St. Paul are spineless, but the ones who would even dream of standing up in defense of the Second Amendment get crushed by Speaker Daudt. They get crushed by the Speaker who threatens them or seduces them, and so yeah, nothing happens with the 2A because Kurt Daudt has decided it's not a priority. He decided, you know what? It's much easier to appease the anti-gun left than it is to fight for gun owners. It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. And you know what else? And the worst part is, again, it only emboldens the anti-gun left. It only makes them go on the warpath against our gun rights. Kurt Daudt says, look into what these guys have done in Iowa. Kurt, everybody knows that my brother Aaron runs Iowa Gun Owners, and Iowa got stand your ground law because the members and supporters of Iowa Gun Owners threw out 38 anti-gun incumbents got booted to the curb in the last decade by members and supporters of IGO, and now, thanks to the leadership of Senator Rick Bertrand, they have stand your ground law in Iowa. Hey, we don't think that's such a bad thing. How about you guys? Would it be a bad thing if we got stand your ground law in Minnesota? Would it be horrible if they actually passed it? Look at that. That's what's so bad. Look what happened in Iowa. Yeah, in Iowa, they got stand your ground. You think that's a bad thing? Really? Well, clearly you do. Clearly you do, because you're not willing to vote on any of it. You're not willing to put the bill on the floor so that we can pass the bill, so that gun owners can put pressure on anti-gun leftists to get the bill passed. Won't do it. He won't do it, folks. He will not stand up for gun owners. He will not put it on the floor for a vote. Instead, he sits here on a lovely Saturday, castigating gun owners and trying to hold gun owners accountable for their actions. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Kurt, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. You know, your legacy of inaction on gun rights is one of the most obvious and explained things that gun owners know in this state. I know that you've had the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus propping you up for a long time. You get the endorsement from them. You get the A rating from them. They put their little Facebook meme out saying, thanks Speaker Daudt for his leadership on the Second Amendment. You get all of those things. And for a long time, you were able to fool gun owners into believing that you were actually doing something for them. That you were actually doing something for them. When in reality, no, you were killing all the pro-gun bills, and gun owners are wise to what you're doing. Look at him. He says, why are you lying to gun owners like us? Seriously? Kurt, is that like a desperate attempt to, like, you know, throw yourself into the crowd of gun owners and go, see, we're all in this together, and it's you guys who are mean to us. Don't sit here and act like you're the common man, like you're one of us. You're not one of us. You're an elitist. You're Speaker of the House. You're here to hold us accountable. Come on, that's a joke. That's a joke. You don't meet with gun owners. You delete their comments off your Facebook page, and and then walk around going, oh, Minnesota gun rights is so not nice. Unbelievable. Devin Pierce says, that's like saying, I love humans. I am one. That's not a really good argument. Exactly, Devin. That's kind of my thought. So because he has a shotgun in his closet, it makes him a gun owner like the rest of us. Kurt, you're not doing a good job. You're not fighting for the Second Amendment. You're not sticking up for gun owners. You won't put it on the floor for a vote. Kurt, are you going to put it on the floor? Are you going to put stand your ground law on the House floor and fight for gun owners in 2019? That's the question. If you maintain your majority, if you maintain your seat, what are you going to do in 2019 for gun owners? What are you going to do in 2019 for gun owners? You know, because, you know, during last session, we were going after anti-gunners. We were out in Lyon Senator Scott Jensen's district, passing out flyers on thousands of houses in his district, exposing the fact that he was sponsoring universal background checks. We were at the Capitol. We were getting phone calls and emails into the State House trying to stop gun control, and you were nowhere. You were nowhere. Totally MIA. Couldn't find you. Couldn't find you. And now, he says, no, you weren't. Kurt, come on. What do you mean we weren't out in Scott Jensen's district? Come on, are you serious? Kurt, we had teams of volunteers. It's all documented. Scott Jensen himself took a picture of the flyer that apparently he was given or that we put on his house and was crying on Facebook because we were outing him in his district. Okay, we shot Facebook Live videos while we were out there. How can you sit here and just shout flat out patented falsehoods, absolute lies to gun owners? Unbelievable. I mean, come on. Guys, I don't know what else to say here. I don't know what else to do. He won't fight for gun owners. He won't fight for the Second Amendment. He won't stand up for us. He won't put it on the House floor. And now here we are just days away. Let's see, from the August 14th primary here in Minnesota, when gun owners should know where candidates stand. And he is telling candidates, this is what we're being told by candidates. Candidates are telling us that they're getting an email from Speaker Daudt saying, do not fill out the Minnesota gun rights candidate questionnaire. In fact, during the 2014 election season, when Representative Roz Peterson was running, I think it was in 56B, she was running against anti-gun radical leftist Will Morgan, right? And we got 100% survey out of Roz Peterson back during the 2014 election season. She promised to fight for the Second Amendment, and Will Morgan was a radical leftist who was carrying the water for Bloomberg in the state house. And so what did we do? We went to war in that district. We exposed Will Morgan for the piece of crap leftist that he was, who was sponsoring gun control. And look at that. Gun owners decided that they would much rather have Roz Peterson as their state rep. That was pretty cool. And so we went and we met with Roz Peterson after she won her district, and we sat down with her, and she said, this is what she said. This is very important. She said, guys, I didn't know that gun rights was such a big issue in my district. We said, well, we knew it was, and we really appreciate you filling out our survey 100%. And she said, well, to be totally honest, the only reason I filled out your survey is because I put it in the mail, and then one day later, I got the email saying, don't fill out the Minnesota gun rights candidate questionnaire. If I had gotten the email, I wouldn't have filled it out. So guys, this is what the attack is right now on gun owners here in Minnesota. Is Kurt Daudt is doing his level best to make sure that gun owners don't have surveys, don't have signatures from candidates on surveys about what they're going to do in their time in office. He wants them to be able to simply fall in line and do exactly as Kurt Daudt tells them to do. And so again, he's attacking pro-gun candidates, and he wants you to be totally duped. He doesn't want you to know. He doesn't want you to know. He wants you to go out and vote for whoever the incumbent is, right? And as we've seen all last session and the entire session before, nobody in the St. Paul House is willing to stand up and actually move pro-gun bills. And so, of course, he wants all of his old friends in there. Unbelievable. Brett Wolf says, you can keep blaming others for lies, but it is about what you do to support our rights. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right, Brett. Kurt Daudt running his mouth, blah, 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 blah. Guys, if Kurt Daudt starts spamming any nonsense to you, feel free to contact us. He's likely going to send you a link from an anti-gun radical from Iowa, Speaker Pro Tem Matt Winshittle, who stands up there, much like Kurt Daudt would love to do. He stands up there in Iowa and shouts and yells about how Iowa gun owners is a scam and a farce, when it's well known in the state of Iowa that Matt Winshittle, Pretty Boy Winshittle, has been fighting on behalf of the leftists and killing off pro-gun bills for years, just like Kurt Daudt. So Kurt Daudt's good friend, Matt Winshittle from Iowa, is calling Iowa gun owners a scam. And here in Minnesota, Kurt Daudt is calling Minnesota gun rights a scam, all the while refusing to give us a vote on Stand Your Ground, all the while attacking gun owners, all the while talking about passing gun control, and all the while telling candidates don't fill out the MGR survey. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. But you know what? It's more believable than not. It's more believable than not. This is politics, folks. It's the art of spinning gun owners. It's the art of pulling the wool over everybody's eyes. It's the art of getting people like the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus to give you A ratings and endorsements and back your play. That is what Kurt Daudt does, and he's a professional. He's an absolute professional at spinning people, telling lies, and giving an excuse for why he won't follow through with anything he says. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's Kurt Daudt, you guys, on here, running his mouth and trying to hold gun owners accountable. Guys, that's about what I've got for right now. We're probably going to have to ban him. Let me guys know. Let me know if we should ban Kurt Daudt for spamming our Facebook page, for spewing lies. And Nicholas Narveson says, unfortunately, I got to go to work. I'd hope you do too, Mr. Daudt. Yeah, good point. Daudt, go to work for gun owners. Stand up for gun owners. Why won't you give us a vote on Stand Your Ground law? Give us a vote on Stand Your Ground in 2019. I'm not the elected official here. Minnesota Gun Rights is not responsible for passing Stand Your Ground out of the floor. It's your job. You're the speaker. You're the speaker. Do your job. Do your job for gun owners. Fight for the Second Amendment and put Stand Your Ground on the House floor for gun owners. That's what we want. Guys, you want Stand Your Ground law in Minnesota? You want it? If you want Stand Your Ground, give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. Because the guy who can make that happen, the guy who can pass it out of the House, the first major hurdle, the guy who can pass it out of the House, literally the man himself, is right here in our comment section. Kurt Daudt, Speaker of the House, is right here in the comments. This guy can do far more to pass Stand Your Ground law than we could ever do. He is the Speaker of the House. So we would like to see Stand Your Ground law move in 2019. I think gun owners are going to remember this little chat with the Speaker. And he won't promise to do it. I thought he might have mumbled something at the top of this an hour ago. He keeps shouting, I already did. I did. I voted for it. I voted for it. 6 years ago. 6 years ago. Unbelievable. Eric Howell says, thanks, Ben. Keep up the fight. I say let him stay. Just gives us more insight into his stance and how he feels about us, it seems. All right. We're working on it. We'll decide. But he's such a spammer. It's horrible. It's horrible. You ever get like a whole bunch of messages from an ex and you're just like, leave me alone? Yeah, that's like Kurt Daudt. It's just terrible. It's terrible. So guys, Connie Wentz says, share this everywhere. Yeah, please do. Please do. Let people see the disrespect that the Minnesota Speaker of the House has for the gun owners who gave him his majority. Guys, I'm going to sign off for right now. I'm going to hop off. Rory says don't ban him either. All right. We'll think about it. We will think about it. Guys, have a great weekend. Have a wonderful weekend. We are going to continue to fight for the Second Amendment. We are going to continue to fight to get surveys out of candidates. We're going to continue to expose anti-gunners who are running for office. We're going to continue to fight for Stand Your Ground law, constitutional carry law. We're not just going to sit back and let Speaker Daudt just kill the bill and we just sit here and go, oh, well, not much we can do. You know, if the Speaker won't pass it, we better just give him an endorsement like the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus does. No, we're going to continue to fight for these bills. And if Kurt Daudt refuses, Kurt says, I hope you start fighting with me. Kurt, we already said this. If you fight for us, we will fight for you. If you fight for gun owners and get us a vote on Stand Your Ground, if you push for this, we will help. Absolutely. We would be more than willing to pour pressure on anti-gun radicals who would oppose your mission to pass stand your ground law. We'd love to. We would love to. It would give me no greater pleasure. I'd love to. But look, we're not going to sit here and back your play when you absolutely slaughter our pro-gun bills. If you won't put stand your ground law or constitutional carry up for a vote, if you won't do anything for gun owners, don't expect us to sit here and sing your praises. Won't ever happen. We're going to continue to keep up the fight, you guys. Thank you for your help. Thank you for your support. Get on board with MGR. Everything we are is because of our members and supporters, grassroots gun owners. Grassroots gun owners. That is what we are. That is what I am. And that is the power of this organization to hold people like Kurt Daudt accountable. We got to hold him accountable, folks. We got to hold his caucus accountable. We cannot just sit here and go, well, oh yeah, I guess we better support them. If they won't help us, they should get out of the way. And gun owners, voters, you're the ones who can make that happen. So we're going to keep up the fight. Contact your candidates. Tell them to ignore Speaker Daudt and sign the Minnesota Gun Rights Candidate Questionnaire. Speaker Daudt has told them, don't fill out the survey, don't fill out the questionnaire, don't tell Minnesota Gun Rights where you stand on these issues. We're trying to do our best to make them look like con artists and scams, and we keep up, you know, the fake news all the time. We're doing our best, so don't fill out their survey, because my gosh, if you vote the wrong way, they're going to come at you like a dog on a bone. That's what Kurt Daudt is telling these people. But we got to get these surveys anyway. We got to be able to expose these people at election time, and election time is right now. Speaker Daudt, I hope you mature a little bit in the meantime. Grow up a little bit. Learn to fight for the Second Amendment. Learn to stand up for gun owners. We'd love to see a press release from your office that you're going to move stand your ground law. We'd love to see that. We'll get right on board and help push the bill all the way. So you guys have a fantastic weekend. Love you guys. Thank you for coming on here. And thank you to our special guest, Kurt Daudt, coming on here, insulting all the gun owners and refusing to do anything for gun rights. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll have more updates for you on Monday. And God bless you guys. Godspeed. And I will talk to you later. Have a great weekend.